All right, guys, lesson 7 on page 61. Let's apply what we know about positive and negative numbers to different situations. I can solve problems that involve adding and subtracting rational numbers. So, without computing, is the solution to negative 2.7x plus x equal to negative 3.5 positive or negative? So, well, we start with a negative, and we end up with a bigger negative, and we're adding them together. So the answer is going to be negative. Number 2, which of the following are solutions? Well, this is a negative number. We want to solve for x. We want to get it by itself, so we're going to add 2.7 to both sides. So negative 3.5 plus 2.7, and then this one as well, because that turns into a plus as well. All right? So, turning to page 62. The store tracks the number of cell phones in stock and how many phones it sells. The table shows the inventory for one of the phone model at the beginning of each day last week. The inventory changes when they sell phones or get shipments into the store. So if they sell phones, the change is going to be negative. If they get phones into the store, the change is going to be positive. So, well, we just answered number 1. What do you think it means when the change is positive? We're adding phones, so we're adding to our inventory. We're getting a shipment. What happens when the inventory is or the change is negative? Well, we're selling phones. We're getting rid of them. What do you think? Number 2. What do you think it means when the inventory is positive? Well, if it's positive, that means they have phones. If the inventory is negative, that means they're out of phones. They've sold phones that they don't have. Number 3. Based on the information in the table, what do you think the inventory will be on Saturday morning? So, we have negative 2 on Friday, but we get 20 in. Notice it's a positive 20, so we're going to add those two together. So if I go negative 2 plus 20 on Saturday, they're going to start with 18 phones. What is the difference between the greatest inventory and the least inventory? Well, my greatest inventory is 18. My least inventory is negative 2. Difference means subtract, so we're going to go 18 minus negative 2. 2 minuses in the middle turns into a plus, so 18 plus 2 is 20. All right, solar power. Han's family got a solar panel. Each month, they get a credit to their account for the electricity that is generated by the solar panel. The credit they receive varies based on how sunny it is. In January, they used $83.56 worth of electricity and generated $6.75 worth of electricity. Here's their electricity bill from January. So they got $83.56. They took off $6.75, and they got $76.81. In July, they were traveling away from home and only used $19.24 worth of electricity, and their solar panel generated $22.75 worth of electricity. What was their amount due? Well, they owed $19.24. And they generated $22.75, so we're going to go $19.24 minus $22.75. That's a 5. Try that again. So, using my calculator, 19.24 minus 22.75 is negative 351, meaning the power company owes them 351 or is going to give them a credit for 351. Number 2, the table shows the value of electricity they used and the value of electricity they generated each week for a month. What amount is due for this month? Well, let's add them together and then subtract the generated. So all I'm going to do here is I'm just going to add all of these together. So 13.45 plus 21.78 plus 18.12 plus 24.05, we get 77.4. So $77.40 is how much they used. Now, to figure out how much they generated, we're just going to add up all the negatives. So, negative 6.33 plus negative 8.94 plus negative 7.70 plus negative 5.36. I get negative 28 33. So we just take how much they generated and subtract it from their use. So 7740 minus 28.33, 4907. What is the difference between the value of electricity generated in week 1 and week 2 between 2 and 3? So difference means we're going to subtract these two. So negative 6.33 minus negative 8.94. So negative 6.33 minus negative 8.94, get 261. And then between week 2 and 3, we're going to subtract those. So negative 8.94 minus negative 7.70. So negative 8.94 minus negative 7.70, negative 124. Okay? Yeah, we're going to skip this one. And we're done. So lesson 7. Sometimes we use positive numbers to represent quantities in context. Here's some context. We have studied that can be represented with positive and negative numbers. Temperature can be positive or negative, elevation, positive or negative, inventory and account balance, electricity flowing in and out. In these situations, using positive and negative numbers and operations on positive and negative numbers helps us understand and analyze them. To solve problems in these situations, we just have to understand what it means when the quantity is positive, when it's negative, and what it means to add or subtract them. And then when 2 points in a coordinate plane line on the horizontal line, you can find the distance by subtracting their x values. So if I wanted to find the distance here, I could just subtract their x values. So negative 2 minus negative 5, which is really negative 2 plus 5, gives me 3. Okay, when 2 points on the coordinate plane line on the vertical plane, you can just subtract their y coordinates. So here, 5 minus 2 equals 3. Remember, the distance between two numbers is independent of the order, but the difference depends on the order. Okay? On your assignments today, we're going to do number 3 and number 4. How much higher is 500 than 400? So we're just going to subtract 500 minus 400, then 500 minus negative 400, and then 8,500 minus 3,400. Because we're going down, that one has to be negative. What is the change in elevation between 8,500 and 30 minus negative 300? So we go 8,500 minus negative 300, but we're going down again, so it's going to be negative. Okay? Number 4, the table shows the 4 transactions and the resulting account balance in a bank account, except some numbers are missing. Fill in the missing numbers. So this is a problem from last week. So to get this number, we're going to take these two numbers and we're going to subtract them. To get this number, we're going to take these two numbers and we're going to subtract them. Okay? And because they're going down on both cases, it's going to be negative. This one's going to be negative as well. Remember, if you have any questions, you can always email me.